mental health is essential for overall well-being. In the case of students, it allows them to deal with life's challenges and stress in their daily lives. But why is a stress-free life so elusive for youth? We explore that next. 17-year-old Ravi wants to become a doctor. His father is a small farmer in Darbhanga in the Indian state of Bihar. Ravi is the only son of his parents after two daughters. His father enrolled Ravi in a coaching center after selling a piece of land to pay the fees of this coaching center that is thousands of kilometers away from their home. Ravi shifted to a hostel nearby. This was the first time that Ravi was away from his family. It's been 6 months. Things were going well until now. Ravi used to talk to his parents on the phone every day, but suddenly things took a turn for the worse. One day, Ravi neither called nor picked up the phone. His worried parents called one of his friends to check on him. The door to Ravi's room was closed. Ravi's friend knocked several times. Other students and hostel staff also joined in. When no response was received, they broke the door and Ravi was found lying unconscious. He was shifted to a hospital. Doctors found an overdose of sleeping pills. Meanwhile, his parents reached. Doctors said that Ravi is in severe depression and his parents were lucky because he was brought to the hospital before it was too late. As the doctors said, Ravi's parents are lucky, but not everyone is. There are so many students, not just in India, but across the world, living under similar conditions. Their poor mental health is a cause for concern. So what exactly is mental health? Mental health is a state of emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It is our mental health that determines how we feel, act, think, make choices, and relate to others. Mental health is much more than the absence of any mental illness. It is essential for overall health and quality of life. Studies suggest good mental health is linked to 1. Improved learning, 2. Higher levels of productivity, 3. Creativity, 4. Better social behavior, 5. Good physical health, and 6. Increased life expectancy. To give you an example, if you feel emotionally healthy, you can be fully present with your family, friends, and community. Otherwise, you tend to feel isolated even in the company of others. In fact, good mental health is a basic human right for all. Everyone, no matter who they are or where they are, has the right to the highest attainable standard of mental health. And if you think mental health affects only adults, you are wrong, because as you saw in Ravi's case, childhood and adolescence are important stages of life for mental health, because this is the time when rapid growth and development occurs in the brain. The cognitive and social emotional skills that are acquired during this stage shape future mental health. Negative experiences in early life, such as exposure to violence, mental illness of a parent or other guardian, and bullying in schools can increase the risk of mental illness among adolescents. So how prevalent is mental disorder among adolescents? WHO says 10% of children and adolescents worldwide experience a mental disorder, but most of them do not seek help or receive care. So it goes unnoticed. Do you know that suicide is the 4th leading cause of death among adolescents around the world in the 15 to 19 years age group? If we extend this age bracket by another 10 years, then the 2nd leading cause of death among 15 to 29-year-olds worldwide is suicide. Now, if we look at why students take undue stress and even contemplate suicide, one of the main reasons that comes up is academic pressure. The pressure to clear exams with good marks, that in turn can win them validation from home or their immediate family, from society, from friends, and even in their own eyes. While a student may not be able to shake off academic pressure totally, the right perspective can help her a great deal. Just think, is an exam or a set of exams really worth your life? Let's decode Ravi's case. As we said, Ravi hails from a modest background. His entire school life was spent in a village. When he shifted to a hostel to study in a coaching center to prepare for his medical entrance examination, he could not cope with the competition. Low self-esteem gripped him. The thought of financial burden on his parents if he were to fail in his medical entrance exam and fear of social stigma that generally comes with such failures haunted him. But Ravi is not alone. There are many like Ravi. In fact, students dealing with mental health issues have increased significantly in recent years. There is growing mental strain on them to perform well academically. The pressure comes from the mental conditioning, from their families and from society in general. But there are systemic reasons too. The situation is made worse by intense competition for few opportunities or for few seats in professional exams, leaving students stressed, anxious and depressed. Take the example of competitions in India for undergraduate medical education. This report says more than 1.7 million students appeared for the National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test or NEET in India in 2022. Of these, nearly 49,000 students or 2.7% of the candidates got admission in government medical colleges. The story is quite similar for other exams as well. More than 1 million students appear for the civil services examination in India every year for about 1,000 vacancies. So the competition is really tough for students, even as expectations from them are high. Generally, parents tend to compare their children with others. If their neighbor's son or daughter gets into a premier engineering or medical college or a business school, they expect their children to achieve the same or do even better. That leads us to ask a few questions. Are marks, ranks and cracking entrance examinations the only determinant of success of a child or an adolescent or a prism to gauge their future? Do marks reflect the true knowledge of a student in a particular subject? Does an exam or a set of exams decide whether you will be successful in life or not? Is a particular college or institution the only ladder to success? What you are seeing now are dropouts. Dropouts who redefined success. Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft. Mark Zuckerberg, the co-founder of Facebook and its parent company, Meta Platforms. Jack Dorsey, the co-founder of Twitter, now renamed as X under Elon Musk. Gautam Adani, the chairperson of Adani Group. Azim Premji, the founder of Wipro. Steven Spielberg, one of Hollywood's all-time great filmmakers. Michael Dell, the founder of Dell Technologies. The list is long. So surely, success cannot be measured on the basis of grades. Students, parents and the society thus need to be disabused of this notion that grades are the prime barometer of a young aspirant's success in life. Success comes when students get the right exposure and the necessary psychological support. This exposure can come through extensive reading, broadening their knowledge base through different ways and practical application of knowledge. More exposure and the right mindset can lead to greater capacity to handle challenges in life as a student and later as a professional and then in all facets of life. Do you know that extensive use of social media by youth is also affecting their mental health? How, you might ask? See this report. A school system in the United States sued tech giants and platforms like Meta, Google, Snapchat and TikTok for allegedly contributing to a mental health crisis among students. The lawsuit says teens and children are central to business models of these platforms. It says the design and algorithm of these platforms are made in a way that they exploit the psychology and neurophysiology of users into spending more and more time. This is not the first time that red flags have been raised against excessive exposure of youth to social media. Earlier, school systems in Washington, Florida, California, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Alabama, Tennessee and others had filed similar lawsuits. They all took on the negative effects of social media on mental health of students. The answer lies in a measured approach. Youth must be counseled to use social media in a measured and constructive way. Social media giants should also ensure access to only age-appropriate content for children and adolescents on social media. Unfortunately, the scale of the mental health epidemic among youth is not known. That's because it is often difficult to identify the symptoms of poor mental health among students, especially children. This is because behavioral changes appear normal among children as they grow. So mental health concerns go unreported because parents are generally unable to distinguish if certain changes in their child's behavior should be attributed to normal development or whether they could be early signs of a growing problem. Some of the first subtle signs include refusal to go to school, difficulty in concentration and learning, disruptive behavior, and problems with eating and sleeping. So parents or guardians can watch out for these signs. What are the other signs of stress among students? Well, often we see anxiety levels going up among students just before big occasions such as examinations. Well, some of these are fleeting, mild and moderate and can be handled with counseling and support. Others may lead to serious distress and even become unmanageable. It is important for parents, teachers and students themselves to be aware of the warning signs of mental health issues. Here are some serious signs of mental trouble. Watch out for depression. The symptoms of depression differ from person to person, but common symptoms are 1. Feeling sad, 2. Feeling of hopelessness, 3. Reduced self-esteem, 4. Difficulty in concentrating and paying attention, 5. Difficulty reading and completing assignments, 6. Loss of interest in activities, 7. Avoiding social interactions, 8. Changes in sleep patterns and appetite, 9. Decrease in self-care, and 10. Recurrent mention of death or dying. Next comes anxiety. Anxiety disorders are characterized by excessive fear and worry and related behavioral disturbances. What are the symptoms of anxiety? They are 1. Restlessness, 2. Panic attack, 3. Uncontrollable worry, 4. Increased irritability, 5. Concentration difficulties, and 6. Difficulty in falling asleep or sleeping for too long. Another condition is stress, which shows in signs similar to anxiety. Stress can cause digestive problems, headache, muscle tension, low energy, mood swings, high blood pressure, and trouble in remembering things. There can be menstrual problems too. Ill mental health also causes eating disorders in students, especially in teens. Eating disorders involve abnormal eating behavior and preoccupation with food. This is accompanied in most instances by concerns about body weight and shape. Eating disorders are medically called anorexia nervosa and bulimia nervosa. Anorexia nervosa can lead to premature death, often due to medical complications or suicide. It has higher mortality than any other mental disorder. Bulimia nervosa causes one to eat large amounts of food at one time or binge and then get rid of it or purge. So eating disorders may sound normal, but in reality they are not, and must not be ignored as signs of stress. If a child or adolescent around you has an eating disorder, you may see these symptoms. 1. Uncontrollable eating. 2. Irregular heartbeats. 3. Fear of eating in public. And 4. Constantly making excuses about eating habits. In severe cases, poor mental health leads to suicidal tendencies. If not addressed in time, poor mental health of children and teens extend into adulthood. So how can mental health issues of children and adolescents or the student community as a whole be addressed holistically? 1. There needs to be greater awareness in families and society to tide over the challenge of lack of knowledge and understanding about mental health concerns. As a society, we must encourage students to speak up about what is troubling them and talk to their parents, teachers or friends and ask for help. 2. We must encourage students to indulge in their favorite activities or pastimes like playing their favorite sport or listening to music. This can help them unwind, create a healthy balance between work and play, and enhance their time management skills too. With this, a student can not only beat stress, but also recreate and enhance productivity levels. 3. Dealing with sensitivity. Youth with mental and psychosocial disabilities often face stigma and discrimination, and so many suffer secretly and are reluctant to seek treatment. 4. Proper clinical care. Undiagnosed and untreated mental health problems can have long-term effects on a student's ability to live a fulfilling life personally and professionally. This may make it difficult for them to form lasting relationships, hinder their chances of getting a job, or in the worst circumstances, result in substance abuse or self-harm. So besides the support of family and friends, necessary clinical and institutional care is needed in moderate and severe cases. But there are challenges too, such as shortage of mental health professionals and lack of affordable and accessible treatment, which is evident in low treatment coverage in many developing but also developed countries too. This report says India has only about 0.7 mental health professionals for every 100,000 people. The standard guideline suggests that there should be at least 3 psychiatrists per 100,000 population. Even developed countries are struggling on that count. Now look at this report. It says about 47% of the population in the US, which is 158 million people, live in a mental health workforce shortage area. That shortage of mental health professionals is particularly prominent in rural areas. But solutions are also being thought about. India's Health Ministry has launched a rural mental health program. The program, known as Naman, was first rolled out in 2 districts, one in the North Indian state of Uttarakhand and another in Karnataka in South India. The Indian government has also taken several steps to reduce examination stress among students. For instance, India is implementing the National Education Policy 2020, under which students are given greater flexibility in choosing their subjects and a flexible board examination schedule too. Students can now appear for board exams twice during any school year, once for mains and once for improvement if they feel. The policy also gives students multiple entry and exit options at the undergraduate level. This provides more flexibility to students to move in and out of colleges and pursue studies as per their chosen timelines. Efforts are visible in India at the policy and leadership level. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts regularly with students, teachers and parents through his Pariksha Pe Charcha initiative. The idea behind it is to foster a stress-free atmosphere for students. But more needs to be done, both within and outside education systems around the world. Imparting mental health education in schools and colleges and encouraging yoga and meditation sessions are some other options. As we said initially, a perspective change is needed. This perspective change needs to be system-wide and needs to involve all stakeholders. The end result must be a conducive environment for our youth. After all, life is an experience and a medium of learning. It is certainly not a race.